I suppose that I should be somewhat upset having been referred to as a socialist, moron, Canadian, baby boomer, retard. However, I'm not. In fact, I find it a bit amusing and actually a bit gratifying. It all came about in comments to a discussion or debate or interview that I had with Stefan Molyneux of Free Domain Radio, and which can be found on his website on YouTube. And this was a comment by some listener who apparently did not agree with some of the things I said. But the gratifying part was that somebody at least commented on some of the things I have said. I have published articles on YouTube and in my website and and I can't seem to get anybody to agree or disagree with me. There were a number, over 127 at the count the day after the interview, of people who commented. And of those, probably what it was calculated at about 60 of them were foes and 23 of them friends on some of the things I said about our economy and things that should be changed in it. And they were good things. They were favorable things. People who obviously had given some thought to replies, but the majority of them were short and quick and somewhat offensive. Now, a majority of those are probably Americans because this program is heard quite widely in English-speaking countries, and but there would have been Canadians that would have talked back on that. One of the things that I think upset most people was a quotation that I had made by James Madison at a time in between the independence of the United States and during the discussions regarding their Constitution, in which Madison said, "There never was a government without force. What is the meaning of government? An institution to make people do their duty. A government leaving it to a man to do his duty or not, as he pleases, would be a new species of government, or rather no government at all." And I think that they found offense that it should be somebody's duty to do the things required by their government, like pay taxes. Now, the Molyneux and I disagreed somewhat on the payment of taxes. I felt that it was something that should be done. He felt it should be more of a voluntary thing. But we live in a society, and that society requires us to get together to do things that we can't do for ourselves. And so the government and the society that it represents provides us with a lot of services and military and police services and redistributive services and things that we don't want to do or aren't willing to do or can't do um, ourselves. So we have to pay for that, and that's what taxation is. The trouble is, of course, as I've said in almost everything that I've written or talked about, has been the terrible economic decisions that have been made over particularly the last 50 years. You can't look at our economy in the last 4 years or quarter of a year or 10 years or 20 years. You have to go back and see where there was a major change in our economy. And that change came about at the same time that similar changes were being made worldwide in the provision of economic systems. And uh, I would like people to listen to the things I have to say, and say bad things if you like. I don't mind that at all. But I would really like you to think through these points that I bring up. I believe they're valid points. The terrible, terrible decisions that have been made with the Canadian economy and have been terribly injurious to our society as a whole. And if somebody would please give some thought to those things, and let's really honestly debate whether the points I make are valid or not valid. However, whether they're right in all those terms, they were wrong. I am not a socialist. I am not a baby boomer. I am indeed a Canadian, although I'm also a citizen, born a citizen of the United States. But as for being a retard or a moron, uh, I'd leave that to be judged by somebody who would take a little more serious and thoughtful view of the things I have to say. Thank you.